Welcome back to Last Stop Recovery. My name's Chelsea. My clean date is February 13th, 2019.
My name's Jay. My clean date is August 15th, 2017. How are you today, Chelsea?
I'm good. This is round 2. We forgot to turn our mics on.
We didn't have mics on.
Yeah, I am good and tired.
Yeah.
And sore.
And sore?
Yes.
Said you did a crazy leg workout yesterday?
I did.
You're insane.
Yeah, so I did an hour of my regular routine. And that's just weightlifting. And then my brother was at the gym, and he's like a bodybuilder. And so he wanted me to do the plate leg press, the big, I call it big kids leg press.
Yeah.
Because it's in the different section with the serious bodybuilder.
With all the big people stuff.
Yeah, so I did that. Yeah. And then I did the plate squats.
Oh my God.
And then I did back, and I suffered I had to ice my back all last night. Eesh. My legs didn't hurt, but my back did not appreciate.
Yeah. You kind of go a little crazy with workouts sometimes, though.
Most of the time. Yeah, it's I got really serious about it probably 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I went through a lot of health stuff. I got diagnosed with RA, and I was in a lot of pain, like bone pain all the time. And they put me on a lot of meds that were supposed to help with the RA, and then I got diagnosed with lupus, and they put me on a lot of meds for that. And everything made me feel really shitty. Yeah. Like I felt bloated and swollen, all the things girls don't want to feel. And so I saw like either a TikTok or an Instagram of a girl that had RA and lupus, and she got off all of the drugs that they had given her. I mean, not hard drugs, but the ones that were prescribed to her. And she started weightlifting, and I was running like 8 miles a day.
Oh my God.
For a couple of years, and I wasn't getting the results I wanted. And I was also dog shit tired all the time because running 8 miles a day is really hard.
Yeah.
So I started weightlifting, and it's helped a lot. And I'm not in as much bone pain, because the bone pain from RA is like pretty extreme.
Right.
And as addicts, we don't deal with being uncomfortable all the time or in pain.
Right.
Because it very much, I thought when I got sober, my health would improve drastically. And then I had other scares come up, and the lupus and RA. And so there was a lot of anger towards like, cool, I got sober and I'm finally clean, and now I have these lifelong issues.
Right. Now I'm unhealthy. Can't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like it. It keeps me from being so aggressive.
I go in and out. Like I don't know.
Sometimes you're really into it too.
Yeah. I'm kind of in a lull right now, but I've been doing the walks, and I'm just like, I need to get back to the gym. You know, it's a 5-minute drive from my house.
I know, your house is so close.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, and it's like I had this idea. I'm like, I'm gonna just start walking to the gym.
You can walk and then walk.
I walked to the gym one day. It's like an hour walk, and then I'm like, am I gonna get there and be so tired? And then I gotta walk back. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe I should just do it. But
I think you should just do it. It's just walking.
It's just walking, and I'd probably feel a lot better. And I set up my backpack and all this other stuff.
Yeah, because it'd be a really good cool down afterwards. Because like the hardest thing with me at the gym is I'm usually there for an hour-ish to 2 hours, but I never have time for a cool down.
Right.
And I suggest not doing that. Like, do a cool down, come home, stretch.
Yeah.
Also, water. I hear it's really healthy for you.
I've heard that.
You drink it a lot.
I do drink a lot of water. Yeah.
And I need to get better at it.
So we kind of had an idea for
Oh,
today, and I've seen a lot of other folks talk about this kind of stuff, and we're kind of we're not like super interesting people. I mean, I think we're interesting, but we're gonna run out of stuff to talk about. So
yeah, we only don't see each other for 2 days.
Right.
So
I figured, why don't we start looking at some stuff on Reddit? And there's like Sober Curious. There's like people asking about
just opinions.
Yeah, just opinions. And I think we can kind of go into what we think.
Because we got a lot of opinions.
We've got a lot of opinions. This is all opinion based. None of this is based in actual fact.
Because we're not medical professionals of any kind.
So I don't know. Which one would you like to start off with?
Do you want to do the one?
Yeah, let's do that.
Should we read it?
I think so, because we're just not going to mention any names, like we would do if anybody sent us.
Yeah,
anything.
If you guys send us something in. Do you want to read it?
Sure. So this is off of our Sober Curious. This is a Reddit thread. First time, I'm a medical student, and I failed an exam because I spent too much time partying this week. I almost lost my job because I made some bad drunk decisions. I need to stop, but I don't really know how. I've got a leaving party for a mate this evening, and it's a pub crawl. Do I try to not drink? Now, what would you do in that situation?
Not go.
Not go?
Because if I'm going to be around alcohol, I'm going to drink.
Right.
I mean, especially in the beginning.
Yeah. And I think that's such a raw, like right off the bat, like, you know, I've been there, like where it's like I've messed this thing up. Yeah. I've also gotten in trouble at work, and you know, somehow, some way or another, I've made a bad decision, and drinking was involved in that. You know, and now it's just like, you know, my buddies are they're going away, they're moving on, and we're supposed to go pub crawl, and like, what do I do? Do I drink? And it's like, if like this, you go to a barber enough times, you're gonna get a haircut. You know.
I don't think that, for me, I'm just speaking off of like any pub crawl. I don't know how you could stay sober, and I also don't know how you could stay sober with your drinking friends.
Exactly.
At a pub crawl, because when you're in that environment, they will be like, what's wrong with you? And even if you say, like, I got in trouble at work, I, like, fucked up on this exam.
Yeah.
Drinking friends don't care. They're like, that's more of a reason to drink.
No, yeah, exactly. You know, it's like...
So, like, most of the time before, when I would get in a situation where I would have this conversation in my head, like, should I go and then try to not drink? I would get way more drunk than intended.
Yes.
90% of the time.
Yeah.
Like, if I was like, well, I'll just have like 1 or 2 and have like 40.
Yeah.
And then wake up and question all my life decisions.
And it's such a hard decision to make, because I think, you know, the underlying theme here is, you know, when I started realizing that my drinking was causing a lot of problems, or I was having a lot of problems in my life, and they were all revolved around drinking. It's like, you know, it's not like I had been arrested drunk, but every time I was arrested, I was drunk.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you know, I have plenty of opportunities to get in trouble, or could present opportunities to get in trouble and get in trouble with the law or whatever. But in those situations, I find myself able to think more and do more without alcohol clouding my judgment, you know?
I didn't do much thinking under the influence.
Right. Yeah.
It was definitely more of like, there was no thinking. As long as more alcohol was involved.
And I think if you're in such a place where you're like, you know, I'm failing these exams, I'm getting in trouble at work, I've made these bad decisions, you know, it's like,
there's plenty of evidence.
Yeah. But typically, and this is just what I think, is I don't think people that don't have a problem with drinking have these questions going on in their heads.
Yeah, and we talk about that in the meeting a lot. Normal people
Yeah.
don't question
No.
their use
Yeah.
of it, but alcoholics or like addicts, I think in general, are the ones that are like, this might be a problem.
Yeah, I think a normal person would think, hey, this Saturday I've got my buddy's pub crawl thing, and wouldn't even give it a second thought,
Well, and yeah, like if you had an exam, if you were a normal person, probably wouldn't get shit faced before an exam
Right.
because that's not
Yeah.
responsible.
And, this is kind of just a couple sentences of an issue here, but I mean, it's really just like I had been in that situation so many times. I had, just kept it kind of built up and built up. Like there was a couple times where I was like, I need to try and stay sober. I remember when my sister bet me, she was like, I bet you can't stop drinking for a month. And I was like, say less, watch me. I can do it. And it was like a week in. And it was like, for some reason, all these stresses and all this stuff. And I like called her and I justified that I was going to go drink. And it was like, all this stuff.
I have this situation and this doesn't count.
Like, hey, I'm stressed out about work and, so-and-so stressed me out. And it's like, I had all these excuses as to all this stress that was going on in my life. And it's like, I think most normal people have stress. I think everybody has a stress.
Everybody has
everybody
some form of stress.
Yeah, everybody's stressed out. Even if you've got all your, basic needs, there's something that's got.
In order to keep your basic needs, it is stressful.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, just all the time. Like, if you're having a hard time, you're just having a hard time. But it's like if you add alcohol on top of that, and you add getting in trouble, and it's like every time I get in trouble, I was drunk, or every time I've done this, I'm drunk.
Yeah. I remember I had a friend that when I rolled my car into a house, she was like, her suggestion to me, because I was in like a dark place.
Yeah.
There's a whole series of events that happens after you roll a car, and I was dealing with the courts and the cops, and I didn't have a car.
Right.
My parents wouldn't speak to me, and she was like, you know what you should pick up? Yoga.
Oh, yeah.
Yoga will change your life. And I was like, I remember it irritated. She told me it for a week, like every day, and then I went to Arizona and did not do yoga.
Did not do yoga.
But I was like, from like her standpoint to this day, she doesn't have any problems. She's a very healthy individual and has not faced addiction in any way.
Was it the yoga?
God. I mean, maybe I should add that to my list of things
that you do. But I don't know. I remember when I was like, because like, I don't think, going in and starting to go to, meetings or anything like that just pops up out of nowhere. Like I've heard so many people go, yeah, I didn't come in because there was nothing on TV.
Oh, I know. It's just a normal Tuesday. You know what I'm going to do today?
You know what? I just got finished with that
and
episode.
I used to think in the beginning that someone would walk in and just be like really honest and be like, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
Never has that happened in my 5.5 years.
Not even
no
once.
one has just been curious.
It's always been, I'm fucked. This is sucking, and I don't know how to make it.
I have fucked up my whole life,
and that's how I came in. I didn't want to get sober until it was just like that was it.
It's the last stop.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, this whole thing, like, do I go to this pub crawl because my buddy's leaving town? It's like, well, that could be more ammunition to get sober. So it's like,
if you want to keep digging, but it's so hard when you're in that space of like, clearly he really wants to go.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, he knows he shouldn't go.
Shouldn't go.
Will he go?
Probably.
Yeah.
Because we'll see if
he's one of us, he'll definitely go.
Definitely go. He'll be there. Because I remember it was, in that like that final, especially towards the very end of my drinking, I remember hanging out with some friends, and I'm like, man, I just think I might have a problem with this. And they were like, no, dude, you're fine. You just need to do this and this and get it under control. They were like,
Stop losing your keys
yeah,
and
maybe
jobs.
drink water in between
Oh
drinks.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like you need to drink the same amount of water that you do per drink.
yeah,
And I'd be like, cool. I actually did try that because I tried everything.
right.
Like especially with wine, because I got off hard alcohol and I was like, I'll just be
Yeah.
one of those bougie moms and drink wine because it's socially acceptable. It didn't work. Also, wine hangovers. Whew. They're harsh.
See,
I
and
mean, all hangovers are harsh, but
I had somebody convince me like, well, if you drink vodka because it's clear, it doesn't have all the sugars. And so like there was a time there where it was like, yeah, I was all vodka for a month. But I swear, in my head I was like, no, it's making me too drunk. Like I get way too drunk off of vodka. And it's like, no, I got way too drunk. Just
it's just
period.
funny because I'm like, vodka is all I drank
Yeah.
for the last
I know.
I don't know, years.
Yeah.
And most of that had nothing to do with less sugar.
I stuck.
It hits different.
Yeah.
It's an immediate. And
I stuck to beer, honestly.
I know. You say that, and I'm like, that's wild to me.
Because it was like, I get less angry. I don't get as drunk. I don't get as mean.
Ooh, boy, vodka will make you drunk and mad.
And angry.
And you will not remember anything.
No, nothing. Yeah. Because people would be like, what were you so mad about last night? And I'm like,
you wake up, you're like,
what are you talking about?
What?
It was great. Like I
felt like last night went really good.
Yeah. All good.
What time did it end?
When did I leave?
Because the last thing I remember is like 7.
Yeah. You know what? I remember we had gone out. We were kind of doing like this bar crawl thing with a group of friends for this friend that was getting married. And I remember we had had some drinks, and then we had gone to like a third bar or something like that. And we got kicked out pretty quick. And we were like, we're not even drunk. And it's like, no,
yeah.
We were very drunk. I was especially drunk because it was like, we're going to be going to all these bars. I better get started before these guys pick me up.
I have never been to a bar crawl. I've actually only been downtown to drink like 4 times total.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it was all the time because I didn't have a lot of money when I was drinking because I needed money to drink. Because I was spending it all.
Kelly's liquor store got so much of my money.
Oh my God.
And gas stations.
Yeah, the people at the gas stations and at the pharmacy really knew, hey.
I knew I had a problem when they would pre-prepare. Like when they would have, like, they'd see me walk in and they'd put a pint on the counter. And there was the longest time that I was like, I felt like that was a compliment. I was like, thank you. You're just making my day so much. And then like later I was like, dude, fuck you.
Dude, yeah.
Wait until I at least ask for it. It's
not even a good thing.
I don't even want that vodka today. I want the other one.
Yeah, give me the different one. I got more money today.
Oh, God.
Turned in more cans yesterday or something. What the fuck?
I would like go between like if I was being bougie. I don't know. We should talk about this rather than my cheap vodka. And I'd be like, I want Jack today.
Oh.
So we won't talk about that. Let's talk about a
different
one.
All right. Let's see. There's got to be another one there.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the other one that we looked at, or do you?
Yeah, let's do the
harder.
Okay, so this one is from the same thread. Harder or easier than expected. Has anyone thought about quitting drinking and was successful in doing so and found it easier or harder than expected? I feel as though I've been so curious to just dive headfirst into quitting for at least a year to see how it makes me feel, but I have almost hyped it up so much that I just got scared to stop and convince myself I don't really have to. Wondering if the benefits outweighed any similar feelings and if stopping was just easier than you thought it would be. Thanks in advance. Um,
I applaud this human for
yeah,
even like thinking they could go head first into
right.
sobriety, because like at 0 point in time,
It's
just before this time stuck,
yeah.
I never was like, I'm just gonna
I'm
go.
just gonna do it.
I'm so curious.
Yeah.
I was so uncurious.
No, it had gotten to a point to me where it was like I can't continue doing this.
Yeah, I knew I was gonna die.
Yeah.
Like there was body things going on that
It
I was
was
like,
yeah, I was
things were shutting down.
yeah, and it's not it's such a weird it's kind of a hard question to like just genuinely give like just a general yes or no. It was easy.
Yeah.
Because after all's said and done, it becomes easy. But at the beginning, it's like it is tough, man.
I don't think there's anything easy about it. I think this time that it worked, I was
Yeah.
truly done, because you got to be done.
You got to be
I
done.
mean, you got to be done. No one can be done for you to be done.
You have to have
You
done
got to be done.
all your research, and you got to be done.
Research, development, all of it.
Yeah.
But this time I didn't give myself an option.
Right.
So going back out was just like not even on the list. I was like, you can be miserable, you can be mad, you can be any other emotion, but you're not gonna be drunk again.
Yeah.
And
it's tough because was it easier to quit, or has it been easier to stay quit? I think
quit.
staying quit has been way easier than trying to quit again.
Oh, I could never. I don't think I could do.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it before. People talk about it a lot in meetings. I couldn't get sober again.
And honestly, whenever I first started getting sober, I would think about things like what could make me drink again.
Yeah.
And it was like, the death of a friend, or maybe I got close to somebody and during sobriety, and it's like, what if one of them died? And it's like, what does them dying and me drinking have anything for me to gain? So, and through all of that, I have stayed sober through some of these things that I was like, oh, that would make me drink again. Because it's like starting the sobriety thing again is just like, I look at it and I look at people who are just starting to get sober, and I'm just like, happy for you.
Yeah.
But buckle up, man, because it's tough.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Yeah, there's a lot more. I really, really wish all it was just, yep, I stopped.
I just don't do that anymore.
Drinking, and then everything was okay. Like I stopped drinking, and then I learned there was a lot of other things that I needed to work on.
I stopped drinking and then realized I was a mess that liked alcohol.
Yeah, drinking is but a symptom.
Oh God, I used to hate that so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, it needs to be the whole problem.
No, I wish that was the whole problem. Like I just drink too much, and boom, all of a sudden I'm all good.
Yeah, and like I used to do that too in the first year of like, but what if like one of my parents dies or my brother dies? Yeah. And I'd be like, then I'd have to drink. And then oddly enough, the last person I got drunk with, who was one of my best friends and who I had known since I was a kid, my last drunk, I drank with him, and he died in September.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things that when I first got sober, I was like, if this person doesn't make it out alive, like it will just kill me.
Yeah.
And then he didn't. And it was super surreal being around his family, grieving with his family, but at no point in time would I never considered, like, you know what I should do? Go get fucked up.
Yep.
If anything, it put more gas in my recovery tank of just like, I'm so glad I made the decision I did.
Yeah.
And that I continue to live the life that I do and, keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And it made me realize how lucky we are that this did work for us. Because some people try and try and try and try, and they just can't get it.
Yeah.
And that so easily, I don't know why that wasn't me. I don't know why that's not my story. I'm so happy it's not.
It could have been me.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that's not my story. I'm glad I didn't, relapse after relapse after relapse. I'm glad it only took a couple of tries, and like because I had gone. I remember I had lost a job, or I was in between jobs, and I was dating this girl, and it was this totally awful thing, and like I had
Like
got
a relationship?
like the whole no, just my life. I think the relationship
Oh.
was probably fine, but it was
Just
like
you.
just it was me,
Oh.
because I brought me with me everywhere I went,
And that was a mess.
and it was like I just was drinking so much, and it was like I had turned 21, and it was like finally I didn't have to ask anybody to buy my alcohol,
Yeah.
and I could just get drunk whenever I wanted. And it
Yeah.
was like I remember I was found, my parents found me in their office, just kind of passed out in a chair, and my truck it was messed up out in the front yard, and there's drag marks all over where I what like up to where the truck's parked, and it's like my mom's idea was, I'm bringing you to an AA meeting, and I was like, that's just not for me. So I was like, I kind of I was able to patch my truck up, and I was able to kind of leave and go crash somewhere else. But it was like right then and there, I really wish that one was the time that it was just like I heard something and it stuck. But I was 21. I figured that's just normal.
When I was 21, I was like, no one gets sober at
Yeah,
21.
that thought didn't even come into my
That's what
head.
like 45-year-old,
Yeah,
50-year-olds
stop
do.
drinking. Are you kidding?
I just
Yeah,
legally can.
yeah.
This is my new
I
right.
can do this now. They like my ID doesn't do this. It's this way now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
Ridiculous.
that. I finally have the real ID.
Yeah. Oh, and I went and I got it right away.
Oh yeah, I took my picture on the day.
Yep.
And like when you renew your license and it will show a slideshow of your photos. I was so hungover and did not give one single F in my 21-year-old ID. Like I look like I left a party to go do that and like I'd fallen asleep because my hair's like on one side.
Yeah, there's like 15-year-old drivers.
Yeah, where I look all, I have like my school outfit on and my polos.
And then there's like 16-year-old
and then there's me at 21.
Full driver's license, happy, and then 21, and it's just
I look like a precious little gem in that 15-year-old one, 16-year-old one, 18-year-old one. I'm headed towards something in the 18-year-old one, and then 21. I look like I adopted a new lifestyle.
Yeah, just awful.
And then the next one I was 24 and I had 2 kids. So much of my life changed from like 21 to 24. Then I just look like a tired, bloated mom.
Yeah, I remember I had to get a new license at like 30 or at like 26. Or no, like 28.
Oh, you did the 8-year one. Yeah. I was so cheap.
So I did like 28 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at it because I had just gotten so miserably drunk the night before, and it was another time that I had moved away thinking that this was going to solve all my problems, and then again
change
back.
Locations.
So it's like I had to get my ID swapped over from the state back to this state, and it was just. I remember looking at that picture even then thinking, I don't look good. Like there's something wrong.
Must have been an off day for me.
There's something wrong with the MVD's cameras. They're they make me look like I have no color, and it's like
I look really pale.
Yeah, here I am walking around out in real life, just pale, gray.
I can't imagine you that pale.
I'm not like I don't know, like a pale.
Yeah.
Pale, but it wasn't like the color.
It was that weird green, yellow.
Yeah.
Like I'm dying inside.
Not
color.
like a bright and shiny, just a
how you are now.
Yeah, the bright and shiny, happy face everybody is used to seeing now.
The glow that I wear now.
But I think if you get to this point where it's like I'm questioning sobriety, I don't think if you drink normally
You have to do that.
Yeah, I don't think you have to do that.
Yeah. I 100%
Yeah.
agree.
So
Because my drinking, I knew I was drinking excessively in high school.
yeah.
Like I was drinking more than everybody
Oh
else.
yeah.
So, and I seemed to, I had friends, I mean, but like a lot of my girlfriends would take like a shot and then like visibly you could see them
Yeah.
like, woo, and like get more giggly and like get a little sideways. And then like 2 shots in, they'd be like dancing on tables. And then like, but I would need 7 or 8. And then I'd be like, okay, now my anxiety level is like down. And
yeah.
But I was chasing that dragon like from the get-go. As soon as I knew that you could feel different, I wanted to keep chasing, like, how different can I feel?
Yeah, like I didn't even have to be this guy anymore, you know?
Yeah, because, like, drunk me was a different girl in my head. I looked different, and I talked different, and probably my clothes were different.
Yep, I felt like I was more fun. I did cooler stuff, you know. I was willing and able to, you know, jump off things, and you know, fight somebody if it needed to happen.
Like so many fights.
So like, but the normal me was just so quiet and reserved.
You are very. The longer we've known each other, like I've met you in the meeting, and like we're just meeting friends. But the longer I've got to know you, I'm like, you're so much more introverted than I like thought. Yeah. Because at the meetings we go to like get everything off our chest, and that comes out for you and I a very specific way.
Yes.
Kind of messy and loud and abrasive. Not that we mean it, but we just need to get it out. Right. Can't stay in.
No.
So yeah, you're much more introverted by nature, and I am not.
Yeah. And but I think that's the biggest beauty about quitting drinking is I finally get to learn how to be comfortable with the person that I actually am.
Yeah, you get to be you.
Yeah. I don't have to try and pretend to be somebody else.
Yeah.
Because anytime that I was drinking or using or anything like that, I was pretending to be somebody that I wasn't.
You know, because we were not comfortable in our own skin. We hated ourselves.
I was okay, you know, getting behind the wheel. I was okay with, you know, jumping off of a cliff into water or something. When it's like, that stuff is terrifying.
You know? I would never do that again.
I wouldn't do that sober. You know,
I am such an adrenaline junkie, and I always have been.
I love adrenaline. Like I like driving fast.
A cautious amount.
Yeah, a cautious amount. Like I like being belted in, buckled up. You know, when it's like
all the safety equipment.
Yeah, I like doing it safely. But like, man, you know, like roller coasters, my thing.
Yeah.
That is, I love them. But drinking, it was like, oh, I'm ready.
I will ride on top of the roller coaster.
I know how to do parkour now. You know.
No, I mean, it's good getting to know like the real you.
Yeah.
You're as complicated as I am.
Yeah, because I mean, that was the other thing is, after I quit drinking, that was the first thing that I figured out was, I don't really know who the hell I am.
I know, and it's so weird too, because you're like, so how do you get to know yourself? Like, what's that process? Like, hi, me.
Who have I been? You know,
I was so good at adopting the chameleon lifestyle that I could be anything you wanted me to be, or that I thought you needed me to be.
Yeah.
And that followed me for a long time in recovery too, because when people say like fake it till you make it, the way that I adopted the fake it till you make it is I was like, well, I'll just act like you guys and be who I think
you want me to be.
Yeah. And like that really did work because I learned these habits and skills and patterns that I myself could have never come up with.
Right.
And I also hadn't been exposed to. So I just learned how to be like a responsible adult. Just like when you brought up doing the dishes.
Yeah.
I'm like, you saw somebody do the dishes for long enough that you're like, wow, it's weird. Like, I ate off of this. My wife is at work.
Yeah.
And this weird thing, I could like clean these. And
Yeah,
then because there's no fairy godmother that's going to come in my
right.
house.
And she, you know what? She's very nice. Sometimes she'll remind me, like she placed all the stuff to clean out here because she's like, hey, you've got company coming over. Your
You
area
have a
shouldn't be
friend coming
filthy.
over.
Yeah, like so it's like
Just like
okay,
the light. We
yeah,
couldn't find our light.
put it over there where
She
I'll
put it where we
yeah.
usually
I
film
mean,
because
just
she's so caring, and Jay couldn't find it anywhere.
like where is it? But
So,
yeah, I mean those are the nice things about becoming sober, and I think those are the things that don't get talked about. Is it's not easy to do it. It's
no.
you know it's easy, but a price has to be paid.
If
And it's,
you're like us, it will not be easy,
yeah,
but it'll also be the best thing you ever do for yourself.
yeah, because I mean, yeah, that chameleon lifestyle that you take on in active addiction is just like, yeah, I'm, these people that I hang around, these situations that I've put myself in, that I've told myself that I'm okay with the help of a substance.
Yeah.
Now it's like now all of a sudden I'm not okay with that, but I got to figure out what I am okay with. You know.
Yeah, the situations, I don't know about you, but now that like I used to get myself in, when I look back now, I'm like, that is terrifying. That
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, about everything. Like, you could die doing that. And
Yeah.
my whole thing was like, YOLO.
Yeah. Well, I like we used to because sometimes drinking just wasn't enough. So like we one time were like we need to get a hold of some thinking of all the names in that movie some
Snow White.
some Snow White. Yeah. So it's like so this friend we were hanging out with was like I know where to get it. So we hop in his car and we go down to this the South Valley,
A seedy part of
and a
town.
very in a very seedy part of that seedy part of town.
Yeah.
And we all three walk in. It's me, another white guy, and then we are with some other folks that we don't. We're just not in that part of town. And
You're not from there.
they leave me and this friend there, and we're in this drug dealer's house, and there's a pile of this stuff on his table. And it's like, when I think about it now, I'm like, what if they left and they were like, we're going to leave those two idiots in there.
Oh, and it got raided?
And they got raided. Like,
because that happens years ago.
What the hell? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of, for me specifically, the picking up the different things, getting in cars
Yeah.
with just me, getting in the car with like a car full of dudes that I did not know. And I'd be like, this is what I want.
Totally cool.
Like, I'm so lucky that they didn't just drive away with me, because especially with my attitude back then.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and showing up to houses that I didn't know and being like, don't worry, I'll go inside. I got
good.
it. Don't worry, they won't fuck with me. And then I see pictures of myself back then, and I'm like, it's shocking I didn't get abducted.
Right. Yeah. I'm surprised I didn't get punched in the face more, because they happen. It's like it's one of those things that you play with fire, you're going to get burned, but it happened. But I'm really surprised it didn't happen more.
More often.
Yeah, because it should have. But these are the things that, like, you look at me today and it's like, that's shit that I wouldn't do,
Oh no.
Yeah.
I have friends that I won't even get in their car, and I know them.
It's rare. Like, we went to the drag strip, me and a buddy, we've been working on these cars, and we got to go down the drag strip, and I got home at like 2 the next morning. And it's like, that is such a rare occurrence for me to
Did it take you 3 days?
Oh my God, I was so, like, I feel like I'm still tired from that. That was months ago.
Oh my God. I thought that was this weekend.
No, like, what the heck? Yeah. So I don't stay out that late, but it was like all the time I was okay with staying up until 3 in the morning.
I wouldn't even leave my house until like 10.
Yeah.
Like my apartment, like that's when I would go out. So like getting home at like 4:30 and then having to be at work at like 6.
Yeah.
And somehow that was like normal. I'd like pass out for an hour and a half and be like,
all right, I'm up.
I'd wake up just like, now I need Red Bull, pre-workout, coffee, a Twitch. Like I need so much caffeine just for my brain to be like, I guess I'll work today.
I think that's my favorite thing is when people go, I was a functioning alcoholic. Well, we all were, motherfucker. You know, like,
every one of us was.
We're here.
Until we weren't.
Yeah, like, we're here because of that fact. Come on, man. You're not special. Like, what? You got up and went to work after you drank all night? No way. Tell me.
That's wild.
How? Yeah.
How did you do it?
I don't know how I did it, but I did it. But
I did not sleep. I mean, I did other things. Adderall and me had a close relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, I was prescribed it.
I have no idea.
I did not take it the way it was prescribed.
Everybody would always ask me, why are you so, like, I did so many downers. Like, it's like, how did I stay awake? You know?
I did not do a lot of downers. I mean, alcohol is a downer.
It is.
Technically.
Yeah.
Which was so weird for me when I got in the meetings, because I remember someone said it and it hit different like a couple months in. And I was like, in my head, like a light bulb moment. I was like, oh my God, that's why I was so depressed.
Yeah.
I didn't stand a chance because I drank all day, every day.
Yeah.
How did I expect myself to be happy? So I was like, I'm still not happy.
Why aren't I happy?
Yeah, it's okay. I just need a couple more shooters, and then I'll be happy.
I'll be really happy then. And you know what? There was times when I mean, we would laugh our asses off at that stuff. I remember laughing or having a good time while drinking, but it was like especially if I went out, like had a good time. But the thing is, I would go home and I would continue drinking, and
I was a great time out and about. It was when I got home. It was the end of the night that was the messiest, always.
Yeah.
So usually, and that was who I was like. Gabe had to see so much shit, and then everybody else we'd go out with, they'd be like, "Last night was amazing."
Yeah.
And he'd be like, "Yeah, Chelsea ripped a door off the hinges and chucked it into a glass table." Like I just did some wild things because I was so angry. I mean, and I still struggle with my anger today, but I don't rip doors off the hinges.
Yeah.
And I don't punch holes in the wall or the doors. And I don't wake up with random injuries. Do you remember waking up to those? Like horrible bruises.
What the hell?
Black eyes. I wake up with like go in the mirror and be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
What happened?
We played like hit for hit. I played hit for hit with these guys one night, and I woke up and my whole arm was just.
You just punch each other?
Yeah, and it's like
that's a boy game.
Yeah, and I think I was just like egging them on.
Probably.
I was like, I'm fine, can't feel anything. But then in the morning, I'm just like this bruised, just nasty bruised arm, and it's like.
And that was fun for you. That was
fun. Oh yeah.
Why? Because you couldn't feel it.
Couldn't feel it. Or at least I hope I could.
Feel my face.
Yeah. Oh my God. So yeah. I think that was a good one.
Yeah.
I think we should do this more often.
And we'll just talk about a couple, because unless we have something going on like specifically in our lives, which we will, I keep touching it and it's gonna pick it up.
I'm sure it's picking up everything else.
I'm gonna get better at not using my hands for everything. If we don't have anything to talk about, then we're probably just going to do this, or if you guys email us, like until we start getting consistent submissions.
And we're going to try and keep these a little bit tighter. That way we stay on the topic.
Yeah.
And they're not taking up so much time, because we're hearing some of the critiques and we are going to make this better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's really hard with both of our ADHD. We almost need a third person to reel us back in.
Cut. So I think the whole moral of this episode and what we're saying today is, if you're having an issue, if you feel like you're having a problem with your substance, your alcohol, whatever, and you feel like it's time to get help, do it.
Yeah, explore those options.
Yeah.
And that might not be AA meetings like it was for us, or it might not be other meetings that are available. I
Yeah.
mean, there are programs out there, there's therapists out there.
There are options,
Just
you know.
explore those options because no one will get you better except you.
And there are tons of resources, everything. Anything that you need to get help.
Yeah, and any questions you have,
Yeah.
addiction is such a widespread problem that most people have some
Yeah.
experience either personally or have been impacted by addiction in some way. So
Yeah. So,
please reach out, explore, get you better.
yep. And until then, we'll love you until you love yourself.
See you next time. Bye.